I have Aneta here with us today. She is an author of Blooming with Self-Love and also a podcast host, Nourished Inside Out, which I cannot wait to talk about because I just learned kind of the meaning behind that for you personally, what it means to heal, from the inside out. So I would love it if you want to give us I want to hear that story, that you were just kind of telling me off air, like this toxic relationship led you into truly becoming a light for others of, the self-love and learning to just really nourish ourselves from within. So I'm going to let you take it away. I want to hear all about that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Audrey. I'm super excited to be here and to share my journey. So, a quick background on me is I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I love Chicago. It's my favorite, one of my favorite cities. And I was actually working at the salon as a hairstylist over there, and I loved it. I loved my clients. Being at the salon, it felt like a second home. But I also found myself in like a really unhealthy relationship. And I think that also stems back to my past because I didn't grow up very aware about emotions, emotional stability, or any of that. So then I remember one day I was just telling myself, and I was like, I just want to be more emotionally stable. I was like, God, how can I be
Mhm.
more emotionally stable and what can I do?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of blessings in disguise that show up as challenges that we may not realize right off the bat. But then when I was 20, I found myself in this relationship and I was like, oh my God, like I've made it. Like this guy is great. We're going to do great things together. Flash forward only 1 year. Well, at 21, like we ended up getting married. But I also saw all the red flags. So I saw it was red flags from the beginning, but I also took it as like, this is my time to grow. I knew that we did not click the way that most couples do when they're in love. Like for us, it was always arguing. Like I swear, I can even tell you, like we probably had an argue schedule, which is so crazy. Like, we would like argue a certain amount of days, and then we would have a certain amount of days to recover, and then the
Mhm.
cycle would repeat. So it wasn't all glitz and glamour, but I felt myself growing through the cracks and learning emotional stability. And I always say that when you ask for something, it doesn't come to you on a gold platter. It comes to you in the form of challenges and obstacles to see if you really want that. So then, flash forward 2 years later, I was 23 and I was like, you know what? I think I've just had enough. I've had enough of the challenges. I've had enough of the stress and putting out constant fires in the relationship. I decided that I was going to file for divorce. And it was
Wow.
honestly an easy decision because I could not handle anymore. Like, it just was not healthy. Like, but
Yeah.
part of the problem was is that I was always isolating, so I wasn't talking to anybody. And once I started to talk to like my friends or be open with my parents about what was happening, then things started to become more clear. Then I started to realize, okay, maybe this isn't normal and maybe I just need to go start over. Because at the same time, like I think a lot of times, like us as humans, we don't want to go get help when we're struggling in a relationship because it can be a form of embarrassment or shame. How do you not have it figured out? What do you mean you're having issues? Everything looks so perfect on the
Totally.
outside. But nobody gave us a blueprint on how to be an adult. Nobody gave us a blueprint on how to have a successful marriage and the whole 9 yards. We're all just figuring it out. So then, after I decided to file for divorce, I stayed in Chicago for maybe like a year and a half more. And then I just really decided that I wanted to take my healing journey more serious. But I couldn't do it in Chicago because there was too many distractions, like friends,
Oh, wow.
places, things, work. So
Mhm.
then I decided that I was going to leave the salon and I booked a one-way ticket to Mexico and
Wow.
I've been writing and podcasting and just really embracing the healing journey and helping others along the way.
Hold on. You're still in Mexico? Like you literally just changed everything.
Everything.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea. Wow, that is so freaking cool. Like, good for you. Literally, yeah, wow. That is
Kind of a plot
awesome.
twist.
Yeah, I mean, super big plot twist, but truly just to get out and like do like my story is like similar and I can't wait to talk on your podcast and like, we'll share everything, but literally like just moving after a relationship ends, like and being able to immerse yourself into a whole new place and like have that self-care, like it just opens up so much space for that self-care and for that healing journey.
I
So I
think
totally get
there's
it.
so much validation in moving cities. It doesn't even have to be after a breakup or after some kind of like negative situation that you're overcoming, because you learn so much about yourself. You learn about different cultures, different people. But the most important thing for me was I want to be who I want to be. I don't want to be the person that people tie my past to, because people would be like, oh,
Yeah.
like, that's that girl, like she got divorced at 23 and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But that's not entirely who I am. It's just a small
Yeah.
portion of my story. So that's also very validating to move somewhere and truly be who you want to be.
Yeah, it gives you it's just like that like tangible permission slip of just like nobody here knows me, like I can be whoever I want. So that really lets you be your true self. Lets you really step out. I want to chat with you about like this kind of societal norm or maybe expectation, if you will. It's clearly changing now, I think for especially in our generation, but it's such a standard to be like you can't get a divorce or you have to stay in this relationship or it's bad or it's taboo or whatever, right? But like of course, like I'm a firm believer of like do your thing and like do what makes you happy and what's going to make you your best self. Of course, like follow your path. But how did that feel kind of breaking out of that norm?
At first, I didn't really say anything. I just kind of did my thing. And, it's like I already had enough people talking about me and my ex, and I didn't want any more people talking about like what we were going through. Like, yeah, I told my parents and maybe like two or three friends, but I really didn't tell anybody. I just It felt good because I felt like a weight was falling off my shoulders. Like,
Yeah.
the day that I moved out, like I texted him, he was out of town, and I was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know this is how I feel, and I just want to let you know I'm moving out today, and we can figure the rest out later." And when I went and moved out, I just felt all the weight come off my shoulder, because
Nice.
when it can be a sensitive topic,
Hmm.
because you're like, you made this commitment, you made this promise with
Hmm.
somebody, and do I really want to break it? Because it's not just a breakup, like you have to do like legal paperwork and all of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it felt right. It felt like
Wow.
I had enough lessons. And if something is meant for you, it's going to come in peace and clarity. And if something is not for you, it'll come in frustration and confusion.
So good. Absolutely. I love that so much. Like just you like trying to make a decision and you're just like, no, it's easy. It's an easy one to make. And like kudos to you because truly I just think it's so hard. Like it's so hard and it doesn't have to even be about ending a relationship, but again, like any big decision, like they're just some of these decisions that we make in our lives are so massive and they take massive amounts of work, right? And the paperwork, like you said, and in everything else. And I think that just following your path and doing what's right for you instead of letting other people's voices, like I don't know specifically if when you did open up to other people, if they were saying anything negative or trying to convince you to do otherwise. But just regardless of what anybody was saying, just being able to follow your path and what sounded what felt right to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things is just really like I said, getting out of your city. I didn't move
Yeah.
immediately, but I did travel for a little bit. And that was quite honestly so freeing, because also, when I traveled right after, I nobody knew who I was, so I can introduce myself as who I am, and nobody knew like what I was going through back home, only if I told them. So it's just
Yeah.
really freeing to be able to travel and go somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah. I wanna hear more about that, like, that journey, after that journey of, like, of healing and what led you into your book and all of that.
Yeah, so I think something that I was lacking when I was in the relationship was really my self image was bad. I had a bad self image and a bad self esteem. I didn't like who I was. I was a hairstylist working at the salon. So you're at the salon, it's easy to get your nails done, your hair done, your Botox, all of it. But
Mm,
nobody talks about the inside. And that's where I was lacking. I was saying like positive things to myself, but it was kind of like in and out, you know? I was actually reading a lot of self-help books before I met my ex and listening to a lot of self-improvement audios, but because of that relationship, he was deteriorating me away from it. Like there's this
uh-huh.
one church that I really liked watching online because they're in a different state. I remember I was watching it
Nice.
every week before I met him, and then I meet him, and then all of a sudden he's like derouting me from all
Mhm.
of it. So then my self image started to go backwards. And that's
Okay.
when I moved to Mexico. Like I wrote a positive affirmations and gratitude journaling book because that has something that has helped me. I'm a firm believer you are what you tell yourself you are. And it all starts with the words you tell yourself. You're always listening.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little more about it. Does it have kind of like daily affirmations? Is it just, it's like a book, full of, obviously they're specific to, lifting you up from the inside, right? Like that self-love from the inside.
Yeah, so it has like a daily affirmation. It's like a 31-day affirmations book, and then
Okay.
following that, there's like action steps for like some self-care things that
Mm.
you can do, and then there's like 3 pages for that day where you can journal out your thoughts, followed along with like a positive quote because it's like, we always need to be reminded of positive quotes. I think it takes three positive thoughts to cancel out one negative. So keep talking to yourself until it's normal to speak kind things to yourself.
I learned that Shetty talks about that and I forget where maybe it was his podcast where he said to do like 10, like how it does take like three positives to cancel out the negative. And he was like saying, like, well, we're going to make it to 10. So, like, every time you say one bad thing, you have to say 10 positive things. And that practice will make you like stop saying anything negative because you're just like, it's so much work. Even to say like the three positive things, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so much extra work to do that. And so makes you become so much more mindful of what you say to yourself because, yeah, like, you're always listening, right? You're always listening.
You're always listening, and I think there holds so much value in that, especially
Mhm.
because there's so many influences around us, whether it's
Yeah.
work, walking, going for a walk and hearing conversations around you, friends,
Yeah.
family. There's everybody thinks so differently. The least you can do is have control of your thoughts. And if
Yeah.
somebody around you is negative, don't let them get to you. And I know it's easier said than done, but like you were
Mhm.
saying, if you practice just saying positive things immediately, it will become a
Yeah.
habit.
Yeah. I love what you're saying about the input because I've noticed that a lot lately. So I recently, just about around Christmas time, noticed I was getting myself back into that comparison trap and back into the negativity and feeling really down. And I was like, you know what? We're not watching TV anymore. No more. Because I used to be somebody who didn't watch much TV just in general. Like I was, like as you can see behind me, right? Like I'm such a big reader. And but I got myself so far into like the reality TV like rabbit hole and I was like, man, this is really making me feel the comparison trap and like looking around and wishing that like I had what they have and all of this and it was making me feel really negative and it goes back to that input like you were saying like what we bring into our minds and bring into our bodies is going to affect the way that we feel for sure. So bringing in like the positive affirmations and like reading that for 31 days, right, doing that practice, like that's going to change us so much for the better. Do you have a favorite affirmation in your book?
My affirmations are like 3 pages long.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's cool.
So yeah, it's something that I was doing for I think like a couple months in a row is I would just write them down every single day, and every single day I would just
Yeah.
add another, and they're like 3 pages long now, but it's always starts with I am
Oh my
happy,
gosh.
I am healthy, I am loved, I give love, I am blessed, I am protected. All of those. They're so
Yeah.
vital because it's like also when you're going through challenging times, like I'm going to be honest with you. There were some days where I didn't even want to get out of bed. And
Yeah.
I remember there was this one time where it's like I was traveling and it was immediately after I moved out. And I woke up and I was like trying to tell myself I'm happy, but like I just felt glued to the bed. But then I had to be like, go back to my positive affirmations and be like, God, I know
Mm.
like for me, like my faith is so important. So like I would just talk to God a lot and be like, hey, like I need strength. And then I would follow that with positive affirmations and it would all come together.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
incredible.
Okay, where can we get this book? I know, I'm sure it's linked in your Instagram.
Yeah, so it's available on Amazon right now or in my link in bio on Instagram. I have a bio site, so then it's available there as well to be found.
Awesome. And can you tell us a little about your podcast? Because I mean, I would love to hear more. I can't wait to be a guest. And,
Yes.
I can't wait just for you to tell everybody about it. I feel like it's such a good match. Like for people listening to my podcast, I feel like your podcast is like right in there.
Yes, I thank you. So it's called Nourished Inside Out, and it's really just learning how to take care of yourself from the inside out. I actually was, do you know the podcaster Lewis Howes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's Ohio boy, Chicago, we're Midwest people. So he's actually the first podcast, self-improvement podcast that I listened to, first self-help book that I read, and I really just got hooked onto his podcast and his journey. So
Yeah.
basically what I've just been doing is also interviewing people in areas that they specialize that teach people how to nourish themselves from the inside out, whether it's like holistic doctor, a nutritionist, a psychologist, hypnotherapist, all kinds of different people because there's so many different aspects of healing. And all I
Yeah.
really want to do is just share my education with others because going through a toxic relationship is one thing, but going through a divorce is a completely another thing. I don't want people to say, oh, I'm going to stay in this because that's what I'm supposed to do if they're not happy. I want people to know that it's okay to walk away from unhealthy situations, even if it means starting over, even if it means moving to a new city or a new country, like whatever it is for you, I want you to know that it's okay and that those challenging times don't define you. They help shape you to who you are.
Girl, we have so much in common. Like I'm shocked we haven't met like earlier,
You know?
Like, because that's exactly how my podcast started. So like I totally like it's so awesome. Like I love it. Like just sharing, I don't know. I was talking today with actually somebody who's helping me to kind of explain myself, like help with my messaging on Instagram and stuff, and just trying to like, because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say because it's just like, I love everything. Like, I want everybody to just find the right tools to be happy. Like, like whatever works for you. Like, there's so much, like, like you were just saying, like, there's like the therapy, or there's this coach, or there's just so many different options, but it's like so fun to just share it all. And then, as you listen to a podcast like that, you can pick up on what works for you, what feels good for you, and just take what works. So I love
And
it.
I think
You're
there
just,
holds so much value in sharing our stories with others because
mm,
it helps us avoid isolation. Whether you're
yeah,
directly going to a friend or family member or a community, or you're not ready to, you have the podcast, you have a
yeah,
book that somebody can say, hey, I went through this, you're gonna be okay. And you don't even have to reach out if you don't want to, but even if it helps one more person, then that's what matters. We're here for each other.
absolutely. Because that's the thing is like what you went through and finding that strength to leave and to serve yourself basically. You made changes to serve yourself for your happiness, for your life. I'm curious. This is such a loaded question, but I'm so curious. If you hadn't had that foundation before you met him, the foundation of your own personal development, your journey with church, the books that you were reading before that, all of these things, do you think that potentially you would have stayed longer in this relationship if you hadn't had kind of that strength or that just that self-help, behind it?
I think if I stayed longer, it would just have ended, would be really bad. Like, honestly,
Okay.
like I would never change those situations for anything, but I would never go
Mm,
back because
yeah,
they were also part of like the building blocks to help me become more emotionally stable. Like, it just
yeah.
was uncommon to be arguing 3 times a week, every
Mm,
week. It just didn't make any sense. Or it was like, I don't like to label. I really don't. But there
mhm,
were some narcissistic traits where it was
mm,
either like love bombing, gaslighting, manipulation. So it was also like me fighting for the relationship and then him seeing like he's some superior person. He would always be so
um,
confident on the outside. Oh, I'm older than you. You have to listen to me. You're 3 years older than me. Like, you're still a
yeah,
child too, actually. And yeah, so I wouldn't change it for the world, but
yeah,
I wouldn't go back. And I really believe that me having a foundation, like a faith foundation and a relationship with
yeah,
God beforehand, has helped me because I think at least a year and a half, I was like, God, I don't know why I'm going through this, but I trust you. And when the time is ready to go, I'll go. But for now, I'll just deal with it and learn as much as I can. And when it's
yeah,
time for me to move on, I will.
yeah. So I just find it so beautiful having that relationship, having a relationship either with God or with, even on a more what do I want to say, like tangible level, like even having like a book right in front of you or just whatever it is, a group of friends or just something outside of yourself to help you kind of with that validation of, that you are worthy, you are capable, you have all of this to know that you don't have to stay stuck in a situation that's not serving you.
Exactly. And I think that also it's like people get scared about leaving a comfortable situation,
Yeah.
even though it's not good for them.
Mhm.
Because, like, you hear the example of if you put a ball underwater and you try to push it down and push it down,
So
you're just pushing everything down. But eventually, it's just gonna explode in your face. And
yeah.
that's just kind of how it is. If you keep pushing things under the rug, you can't, it may be scary to start over, but you have to remind yourself you will not be given anything you can't handle. If you
Mm,
have a dream to go do that career, live in that city, or try this hobby, do it. The least you can do is say that you tried. And
yeah.
I always say to people, like, if you don't want to move to another state, why don't you just move to like another city? And if you don't like it, you can always go back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you're reminding me that I need to, like, share more about that for myself because that helped. Like, I had moved for love at some point, and it was in the same state, but then I moved home or, like, pretty close to home, and it was the best thing I've ever done, was, like,
Yeah.
moving back to where the county where I was raised, but just a city over, basically, and just coming home to, like, the place and the beauty and nature and just everything, like, it really did change things for me. So I, like, completely agree, absolutely, like,
Yeah.
what you're saying is so good. Yeah. Oh, I love
Thank you.
this.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you, like, just kind of like my wrap-up question that I always ask is, obviously, we've shared a lot about, self-love and self-care, but if you could choose one tool for somebody listening to go do right now, like, what would you tell them?
Start dating yourself. Start dating yourself. You don't have to go on a date with somebody. If you want to go get sushi, if you like makeup, put on your makeup, put on a nice outfit, and take yourself out on a date because if you're in a relationship right now, that's great. But you date yourself while you're dating somebody else. And I
Yeah,
think that's a really healthy form. It's go take yourself out, go for a long walk by yourself, listen to an audio, listen to music, or listen to nothing and be in tap with your
yeah,
emotions. And I think when a lot of times people will say, in order to make a relationship work, you have to continuously be dating, even after you're married. but you have to continue to date yourself too.
So good. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so I'm mainly on Instagram and I write on Substack. So I have a weekly newsletter that goes out 3 times a week on Substack at Nourished Inside Out. Instagram is my name, Aneta Waclaw. And then my podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube as well, Nourished Inside Out.
I'll make sure all those links are below too, so it's easy to just scroll up and check out those show notes. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. This was such a pleasure. I can't wait to get to know you even more as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Audrey, for this opportunity. And I'm excited to chat with you on my podcast as well.
Yay!